Welcome to the 180 podcast with myself, Braith and Asta, Reni Matua, Aaron Macy. What a week, what a night, what a last 24 hours we've had. We've got heaps to talk about, a lot about the Lachlan Galvin situation, joining the Bulldogs, the backlash from that. We've got Mahoney now set to leave the club at the end of the season, free to negotiate. We've got Toby Sexton either being sacked or quitting, saying that he won't play at the club. We'll get to all of that. The big reaction last night to 100% footy where Michael Chammas went toe-to-toe with Gus Gould. We'll talk about that. There's so much. I mean, every week we sit here and we think, we think there's a lot going on that week, and then the next week there's even more, right? Which we'll cover. Just quickly, we're in a new set here for this podcast. I just want to tell the fans, the viewers, exciting things coming. A lot of this has happened very organically with this podcast. We've only just had the idea a few months ago. We started it, and it's going great guns, and we're going to have a new look, very exciting look.
Can't wait.
Very different to other podcasts. We're looking forward to bringing that to you guys. Firstly, how's your weekend, guys? All right?
It's good, mate.
I was good. I actually went to the races with our Unibet fam. It was good.
Back any winners?
I did actually. You know what?
You didn't send any tip through.
He did.
I did.
He did.
He did.
And it won.
What's with the group?
No,
You've got your own.
You've
got a little secret group.
Okay, here we go.
Because you're bad juju, mate. You're bad luck.
No, it's not bad juju. Wait, if I had sent the tip on Saturday morning, would you have received it?
Likely not.
Thank you.
Okay, well let's backtrack then. How was your Friday night?
Well, we went to Mr. Wong.
We went to Mr.
We
Wong's.
did too. Oh, that's why he didn't respond. Okay, we went for lunch. Okay, long lunch we did. It was a business meeting.
I had every intention of having a quiet one.
Our friends from Fireball, John O and the boys.
Trav. What about Trav's jacket?
It was sparkling.
I think Reni ordered one later at night with
No,
me.
that's not true.
But we had fun
if anyone was going to wear the jacket he had on, it would be you.
Yeah.
That was great. It was great.
Mr. Wong's, I had to leave to pick up. I'm very responsible. I had to go pick my daughters up while these two carried on. How did it end up, by the way?
I was originally not meant to be there. And then...
no, you weren't not meant to be there. We don't...
Well, I was going to stay on the Gold Coast.
Inconsistent, I would say, mate.
Yeah. No, it was good.
Well, you put the 14 jersey on and you performed.
Yeah, I did. The utility.
Utility.
Came into play.
Have you got any stories for me?
No stories, mate. No stories.
No, there's no real stories.
Fly up to Brisbane after this. Game 1. Can't wait.
That's what we're going to talk about Origin too.
Yeah.
We'll give a good preview on the Origin game.
Just quickly on last night, I wasn't sure. Was that Bill Clinton? I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Who are you referring to?
That interview, he should probably. We haven't really got a solid prime minister at the moment. He should be in politics.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Jeez, he was under the blowtorch, and he fired back. Let's just get to it. So
you want to get into it?
Yeah, let's go straight into it.
Righto.
Why not? It's the story of the day. Firstly, the Galvin decision. We called it on here weeks ago. We had a bit of an inkling that would be the case and that he was going to go to the Dogs. Don't need to go over that again. We'll get to where he plays. We'll get to the ramifications of the signing.
Mm-hmm.
Will it have an impact on their team? It already is because Mahoney's set to leave and so is Sexton. I mean, we'll get to all that. Let's react to last night. It was fiery. I mean, 100% footy, to be honest, I don't watch it because it's on after us and it's on at late at night. And, most of the time they cover a lot of the stuff we've already covered on 360. And they very rarely get fiery like this. Like it's not, it's
a more laid back show.
It's a more laid back and, all that. But I did want to watch it last night, but I fell asleep. Because the start's not that exciting. It takes a while to warm up that show, and it kind of. I like
you want it
when the journos are in and they're hitting the hard topics because that's what I'm used to, and I just like to hear what's going on in the game and see any inside information and see if I can kind of take anything from it. So, but I woke up at 4 this morning as I do, and I saw the reels, and then I watched it the whole interview there with Chammas and Gus. Bracey and Cameron Smith just sat there.
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. It was just kind of between them two. And it was fascinating. Like, great TV. Got to admit, great TV. I loved it. I messaged Chammas this morning. I said, well played. You know, regardless of who got the better of who, I've got my opinion on it, and we'll get to that. But
He didn't back down.
I didn't back down. I love that because Gus is an intimidating figure.
Absolutely.
You know, Gus is very intelligent. Like you said, Bill Clinton, he's got the politician in him.
Yeah.
This whole process of him signing Galvin, well, let's just. What do you think?
Yeah, look, as a general manager, I think he's there to absorb a lot of the pressure. But I thought last night he didn't handle it too well, especially when Chammas went back at him. I think he's been a person in the media who is very intelligent, who is able to control it, the panel. But when Chammas, got his back up and went back at him, it was riveting TV, and I don't think he handled it that well, Gus.
Well, he's not used to it.
Yeah.
He's not used to being pressed.
Yeah.
Especially on that show. Very rarely. I mean, Gal presses him at times, but doesn't go too far with it. Weidler presses him at times, but Weidler and him are friends. So that,
Chammas didn't back down though. Usually, like when someone bites, Gus bites back. They might bite a little bit more, and then if he bites back again, it's done. Chammas just kept swinging.
He did, and what is interesting is that Chammas wasn't allowed to be on last week when they had Moses on, Mitch Moses, because Isaac Moses said. So Chammas was supposed to. We didn't talk about this. Chammas was supposed to be on the panel last week when they had Mitch Moses on. Mitch Moses' team, Isaac Moses, said that they had to remove Chammas from the panel, or else Mitch Moses wouldn't go on. That's unheard of. And I can tell you right now, Fox Sports, if Isaac Moses rang us and said Mitch Moses is not coming on the show, if Braith's on it, Gordy's on it, Buzz or Reedy, we'd say, okay, mate, we don't want him on the show.
If Mitch Moses said it, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that because I've had beef with journos in the past. If I don't want to speak to a journo, I'm not doing it. But if the management's getting involved because they've got a beef with Chammas, then that...
Yeah, and that's what it was.
Yeah.
So that was... but it was good to see Chammas back because that's probably what they feared last week is that Chammas would have hit Moses with some tough questions and he wouldn't like that. And it would have probably, I would say, brought a lot of attention to Isaac Moses, which he didn't want. The gloves were off.
Yeah.
What I took from it, I'm split on it. Not the argument. I'm split on, or the confrontation. I'm split on Gus. Now, like you said, he's the GM of footy at the Bulldogs.
Yep.
If you're a real estate agent, a car salesman, whatever you are in your life, really, in your job, you've got to have tactics.
Yeah.
You've even in my role, you've got to have strategy.
Yeah.
What's that strategy? How do you best execute that strategy? The most successful people in the world are the guys that have strategy, preparation, and they can get things done. Now, Gus has done that. So credit to Gus. He's put the Bulldogs first and he's executed and got something done that no one saw coming except for us, really, on NRL 360 and maybe. I'm not being I called it 3 weeks ago.
You called it straight away.
So he was able to go sort of sneak behind the back door, so to speak, and get this done with no noise. And when people least expected it, so tick, that's why he's a genius, and that's why he's one of the best at it, right?
Yeah.
So credit to him. But in the process of doing so, he has misled, whether he wants to admit it or not. And he was in heavy denial last night. He's misled the fans. He's misled the media, and I think you need to take a little bit of accountability last night. That you know what. I was a little bit deceptive in my approach and my commentary around Lachlan because I was thinking of the Bulldogs. And sometimes, I'm a media personality, but I've got two hats. Yeah, you just got to own it sometimes. You got to own it. He didn't own it at all. But then where he got himself in trouble is he just palmed it off to the media. You guys in the media, you speculate, you put your spin on things, yada, yada, yada. Mate, no.
He is the media.
He is a media, right? But also, the media were reporting what was happening. We reported what was happening. There was no spin.
That's what the media do.
That's what the media do, right? They try and report on movements, keep the fans and the public up to speed and up to date with what's happening in our game, so that that's their job. Media get it wrong, and Gus has got it wrong. We all have. I've got it wrong. It's the landscape we're in. It's the job we're in. You go to American sports, it's the same. It's global, right? It's the way that it works. But just to sort of, you guys this, you guys, like it was a beat up, the whole thing. Mate, it wasn't a beat up. You've been caught out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine.
Yep.
Because you got your man.
Yep.
But don't just palm it off. And where he did get caught out big time, and no one's really said anything about this, and I reckon tonight, and as the days go on, it might rear its head. But at the start of the show, Gallen pressed him and said, "Mate, surely you were talking to him ages ago. If you weren't talking about him ages ago, he was in your sights. He was in your line of sight." And Gus said, "Who?" Firstly, come on, mate. Fucking please. Yeah. Like they're playing which is whatever. And then he goes, "Galvin." And he goes, "I haven't spoken to Galvin." Now, 2 minutes later or a couple of minutes later, they were asking about Toby Sexton. And he said, "Yeah, I've spoken to Toby. He's up to speed. We've given him the information. We've told him where he stands. I told him that I spoke to Galvin yesterday."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Hang on. Hang on. Yep. Bit of fucking Pinocchio here. Mate.
Yeah.
You hang on. Reverse. You just said you hadn't spoken to Lachlan Galvin. 2 minutes later, you said you spoke to him. Yeah. So he's really and this is all because Chammas and give credit, Chammas. They work for the same organisation. So this is good. This is pressing. This is holding people accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And Gus has been, he's been held. He's been caught in the.
Well, like I said, he's there as a general manager to take as much heat, absorb as much negative press as he can to protect the club, so Ciro can do his job for his players. But it got too far down the track weeks later that you said accountability. If he just came out and said, "Look, we had to keep things under wraps," or I don't know how he's going to spin it, but he just didn't handle it well when he was pressed.
Yeah, I think he just what he did was he did his usual. Like, he's very smart, but I don't think it was he didn't handle it well. I don't think it would have mattered how he handled it. I don't know. Like, he's so used to getting out of it, like getting out of situations with what he says.
Yeah.
But again, I think if he had an element of accountability there, like I said earlier, I think he would have probably been, it would have went down better than what it has. Like, I don't usually read comments. I only read comments when I want to get an idea of what the general consensus is of fans.
Yeah.
And man, Chammas was just a knockout round one, like in terms of the reaction. Chammas did a great job.
So with 360, when you guys prepare for a show, do you speak to the journos about what you're going to talk about? Do you prep for that, or is that just keep your cards close to your chest?
I intentionally don't speak to them.
Okay.
So they'll try and get everything out of me. I tell them nothing.
Yeah.
Because what I want it to be genuine.
Yep.
I don't want to give them what I'm going to talk about or what my reaction is or what my opinion is. I want them to give theirs, and then I'll either agree or fire back with why I disagree.
Yeah.
The journos come in, like Buzz and Reedy come in, and they know now, right? But the first year, they come in, "What do you think about this, Braith? What do you think about that, Braith?" Because they've got their opinions already and they want to be ready for mine.
Yeah.
And I just go, "I don't know," whatever. And then we get out there and I hit them and they go, "Oh," like they shit themselves because they're not ready for that, right? And
it's a debate show, really, isn't it?
That's what the show is, right? And that's what made last night's show
so obviously Chammas hadn't really didn't prep Gus,
I can tell you now, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes Buzz and I are close now, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes he'll get off air, he won't talk to me. And I'm like, "Oh, shit." It takes a week or two to get back, right? Like, it's like a little, you got home late from a night out and your missus won't give you the cold shoulder.
Well, I don't think Chammas will be on Gus's Christmas list.
Will Chammas be on next week? He's a
pretty no, mate, for sure. Like, what he's done for nine in that show overnight, like, no disrespect, but that was the most interest I've ever been in 100% footy. They don't do enough of that.
Yeah. What I find fascinating out of all this is, will Fairfax media report this as a conflict of interest? Do you know what I mean? we've been down this path, but if there is a better case of conflict of interest, it was last night.
No comment. I don't want. I don't
end
want
up
to
in
give him
Fairfax.
ammunition. You just said it then.
Yeah.
You just said it then.
It got so ugly for me.
It'd be interesting to see Sunday's paper.
Yeah.
Right.
To see.
And if they report on that, because they report on Fox League and apparent conflicts of interest and every other bullshit every week.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if their own actually go, well, because that's what the fans are thinking.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I think did Webby put in some sort of an
but
article?
Webby's not with them anymore.
I know, but Webby put, I think Webby put
Mate,
out an article
Webby
around
and
it.
Gus have had a fallout. And it's not uncommon for Gus to have fallouts with people, you know. And Webby is a champion of a human being and very intelligent, one of the best writers, if not the best.
Yeah, he's great.
And when Chammas pressed him on Webby's article, Andrew Webster that is, he said, I don't care what Andrew Webster says. I don't care about his art. He said that about everyone's. And he said he didn't read any of them. Gus, he reads everything. The bloke doesn't sleep.
And can I just say, a week or two ago, your exact words are, he's the smartest man in football.
Yeah.
But
he outsmarted himself a bit.
Yeah, correct.
I love Gus.
So do I.
We all love Gus, and he's such an intelligent human, like the way he's been able to turn clubs around as a player, as a coach. But it's something you need to think about now and say, moving forward, is this Channel 9 panel right for me? Because I'm going to be pressed on things. You know, this won't be the last time there might be a bit of conjecture around a signing.
Information on that, and this is probably some information no one would know right now. And I only heard it yesterday. I think the NRL are looking at ways of changing this, you know, and it could even impact me, to be honest. So it's a very hard rule to set in stone for a GM or a footy to go on a show and not have his opinion. You know, everyone has a right to their opinion. But like in a case like this, when he's talking about a player he ends up signing and he's saying he's not worth $1 million, he's saying he should go to a club that's, you know, that's better for his development. He's saying that it was untenable at the Tigers. He was saying all that, and then he ends up getting him.
Yeah,
I think it's really put the spotlight on this, and the NRL have said they're not scared of Gus, right? Because a lot of people think they are. But as I said, this could impact me. Even though I've only got a few clients. You know, I think there will be a blanket rule somewhere that could impact me even talking about players.
Yeah.
So I'd have to reconsider my position. You know, whether it be with management or the 360 position I'm in. I don't know. I don't think it'll be anytime soon because it's so hard to
Put a
police
around,
police. But just to give some fans some insight there, they're heavily onto it, the NRL, and they don't like it. But it's a very hard one. It's a very hard one. But
because you want those, like as a fan as well. You want your thoughts. You want Gus's thoughts. These are the most experienced,
especially
people.
around Origin too. Like I want Gus in the media.
Of course you do.
I think if you're not benefiting from it yourself, it shouldn't be an issue. Like if I'm not actively signing players, I'm not actively at carnivals, I'm not actively ringing players, so it's not benefiting me talking about players, whether it be positive or negative.
Yeah,
this is a case of, did it actively benefit Gus by having his opinion on this player throughout this process?
Evidently.
But how do you police that too, right?
Yeah.
If you have a blanket rule, then it takes me out of it. Yeah. When I'm, in my opinion, I'm not really doing it for any reason other than having my opinion.
Yeah.
As well, you know. So that's something to maybe we have to deal with down the track. But let's get to the actual situation. We've kind of had our say on that. Now, Galvin to the Bulldogs, we've spoken about this a few times already. Yeah. Opinion on the actual decision. I'll come to you, Ren.
Yeah.
The actual decision, opinion on where he plays, and opinion on the impact it could possibly have on the club.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. There's so many layers to this, Braith.
There is.
If I look at Lachie Galvin's style of play, and I look at the way Parramatta are playing, they play an expansive style of footy. They shift the ball in transition. There's a lot more opportunity, more opportunity for Galvin to run. I think Parramatta might have been a better fit. But when you talk about his long-term development, you're going to a club that's on the up, that's probably going to win a premiership in the next 5 years. Question marks around their halves. I don't think it's a bad sign. I like Galvin coming into that system, but he has to adapt his game within the system of what we've spoken about. Or
let's pick it the pieces around. I'll come with you different things here.
Yeah.
All right. Firstly, where does he play? And then we'll get to the rest. Where does he play?
Yeah. Well, look, after all the reports I'm watching last night, it's obvious he's going to 7. All right.
Okay. Well, I'll come to you with this then. I spoke to an official at the club yesterday, and they've bought him to play 7.
Yeah.
So all this Burton, Crichton stuff, I'm just telling you I'm just telling you. They've bought him to play 7 with Burton.
Yeah.
Haywood, he'll play 14. Haywood would then play 9 next year when Reid Mahoney moves on. So if you look at their spine moving forward, and then you've got Rodwell coming through, and then who knows what happens, right? But for the immediate, my information was that Toby Sexton was going to be dropped for next week.
Yeah.
So he wasn't going to be picked anyway, and Haywood was going to be 7.
Yeah,
so that's the first bit of information. Now, Sexton isn't going to be there next year now. He's saying he's going to quit the club. Well, he wasn't going to be offered a contract.
Yeah.
That's a fact. All right. So coming back now, can you see him playing 7? Because that's what they've bought him for.
Yeah, I can see him playing 7. We've spoken about this, the very systematic style of play. The Dogs get to your points, kick to corners, force the error. Putting Galvin in 7 now, it gives them a little bit more spark in that spine to be able to create a bit more opportunity to score points. Toby's doing a fantastic job. I'm very surprised that they were looking at dropping him, especially being 9-2.
Isn't that harsh?
It is very harsh.
Like,
It's very hard.
Have you ever heard of a team coming first and dropping their halfback?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost never.
I'd love to have a closer look at games and even look at the Eagle cam to see what Cameron Serrato is not getting from Toby in terms of are they missing opportunities? Are they too systematic?
Yeah.
Have they given him free rein to pull the trigger on to break the system? But for the long-term benefit of that club, they wanted Lockie in that club.
But we agree, don't we?
Yeah.
We think it's a good decision.
Yeah.
Do we think that
The Toby situation
are they more
is
chance
very
of winning
tricky.
a competition
Yes.
with Galvin coming in
Yes.
or leaving Sexton there this year? I'm talking this year.
What round is it? Round 12.
Who cares? It's
Well, I'm just
half
saying.
the year.
So
Yeah,
you're
I
half
don't
the
want to be
year.
disrespectful, but
No,
it's like
but I
half,
mean,
whatever.
Round
half the year.
13.
It'll take him six weeks to
get in
8
system.
weeks to find out what his role is within that team.
I'm going to put something to you both. Because before, remember I kept asking, can they win the comp? Can they win the comp? And I was one of the first ones to say, I think they can. And then you guys jumped on board and everyone thinks they can win the comp.
Yep.
I've flipped. I almost think that team had close to peaked with the squad that it had.
Yeah.
And I reckon their thought was, like, they're flying.
They need to find another level.
When when I picked it up, when they beat the Roosters, I went, this Roosters squad's got about, in Horseways, got about 15 links up its sleeve in improvement. I don't think that dog side had in the squad that it did. And I think that's why
It's a very open question. Can they win the comp? Like, it's can they win the comp? Yes, of course they can win the comp. Does it mean they're going to win the comp? No. So it's a question that's very open. You couldn't put it this way. The way they've been playing with the team they've got, potentially on their day with a good run into the finals, and if they're at their peak and play to their optimum, they can win a. They can win a comp. But you've probably got, you've definitely got Melbourne ahead of them. But mate, it's such an open competition.
It is.
If Melbourne have a bad day, who's ahead of Bulldogs at the moment? Canberra maybe. Warriors maybe. But are they ahead of Bulldogs, or are they play different styles, but are they ahead of them?
No, it's a
No.
weird one.
Do you know what I mean?
This is the most open comp.
Then you
I've
see what
seen.
the Roosters did against Sharks.
So it's actually a year of a year where there are vulnerabilities in other
Yeah.
teams, and you've got a team coming first that yes, they can win the comp, and the concern now is, well, it could be a flip side. It could be one or the other. He comes in and they go to another level, and it's like Gus again. He's a genius.
Yeah.
Hail King Gus, or it has the potential to derail them.
Be a disaster.
This has actually put a huge target on their head. It's put a huge target, and they may respond. But if they lose a couple in a row, if Galvin comes in and they lose a couple in a row, can you imagine the noise? Can you imagine the pressure? And the fans will turn.
Yeah.
Like the media, the so-called media will spin so-called stories.
I feel like the fans are split on this as well.
They are. Like if you read
reading, how do you think it affects the players, the playing group?
This we don't know. Like what I'm hearing again is that the players are all on board. They want to win a comp. They want the best players they can get, and they're fine with it, right?
Yeah.
That's out of the Dogs, right?
Yeah.
What? Okay. How would you feel?
No, look, we spoke in the car about this on the way here, and when I came into grade, it wasn't a mid-season transfer, but Willie Tonga got signed, and I've spoken to Willie about this. We have a laugh about it.
Yeah.
But Willie Tonga got signed from Parramatta. I was on my third preseason with the club. So the fringe players and a few of the first graders were a little bit confused. Well, there's this young gun coming from Parramatta, and we were off it. I remember the playing group was like, he needs to prove himself because he hasn't been through a preseason like we've been through. We did a 4-5 in the preseason. He pulled out, and there was people whispering behind his back going, "This bloke ain't a fucking Bulldog." So it's going to have an effect on this current group. What they've been through over the last 2-3 years, the preseason they've done, the army camps, put their body through hell for a young 19-year-old to now control that team. It'll affect them here. He has to earn their respect. It's going to, like when you break it down, you think about it, it will disrupt this squad.
And are we all sold on Galvin? Like, has he proven enough?
He's got the keys to this team.
Has he proven enough to be that? Like, he's not like a Brad Fittler or a Joey Johns or
Well, that's why I wanted them to maybe ease him into this team.
And they may still do that, Ren.
Yeah. Well, last week I said, if he has to come through reserve grade, so be it.
He won't
because he would have been coming through reserve grade at the Tigers.
They might, you know what they might do? They might put Hayward at half.
And bring him off the bench.
Bring him off the bench, and then they might slowly, who knows, Hayward may kill it and they might just stick with him.
Yeah.
But I think they may do that first, but I know what they want to do.
Yeah.
They want him at their idea. So what happens to Mitch Woods? Wasn't Mitch Woods the shining light?
Yeah, but if you look
future?
at it, Mitch Woods, he's a genuine 7. So then you've got Mitch Woods coming into 7 in the next 2 years. When you got two of the, you've got the Australian schoolboys 7 and 6, different ages. I think they're only a year or two apart. Who could potentially be their long term. So this is the long game here. You could have the biggest two prodigies, best players in their age group being 6 and 7 for the Dogs. Burton can move to centres or fullback or whatever as it evolves, right?
Yeah.
Pending how he's playing, and he'll be off contract in a couple of years. Woods will just be coming into grade. You're going to have options there, and they're going to have. Look, it's exciting. Like I actually see it as exciting for the Dogs. It's just this.
Just the timing of it.
It has potential to have short-term pain for long-term gain. If you're Toby Sexton, how are you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm not feeling good about it.
Like, how are you feeling?
Yeah. No, I'd be down.
Like, we've got to put ourselves in his shoes,
Like, I've given you everything. I've given you everything for 11 rounds. We're sitting on top of the comp. And now you've gone and done this, and I'm potentially out of the side.
Doesn't even have a club to go to right now.
Not even in that club.
Which says a lot, the fact that he doesn't. That hasn't worked in his favour.
Yeah.
He's had no other clubs after him. But, what that had caught my eye last night too is when Gus said to Chammas, what you write and what you say impacts our players and their families. And I thought, what you're doing to Toby Sexton, mate, you're telling me that doesn't impact him as a player, his mental health and family?
It's funny. It's
like you're throwing that off to the media.
Yeah.
Like, come on, mate.
Yeah. It's like when a player wants to leave, he's the worst person in the world. When a club wants to get rid of a player, not enough is said about it. So
let's move to Reid Mahoney. Were we shocked by that?
Well, you mentioned it last week.
Yeah, I did. I did actually. Yeah, I've been hearing it for 12 months. I actually heard it well and truly heading into this year that they would not re-sign him.
Yeah.
And you know, I think Reid's done a magnificent job. But they haven't been sold on him, and I think, you know, the penalties he gives away, and I don't know. There's just a bit there that they haven't been sold on. But again, they are coming first, and he's been playing really good. So it's a strange one.
He's been a huge part of the turning point for that club because he's been, you know, he's really galvanised.
Yeah.
Before Critter came, because he is a bit of a grub. And
but that's his role.
That's his role.
Yeah.
Look at Mick Ennis.
Yeah.
Right, a grub, great bloke.
Yeah.
A great team first player.
Yeah.
But that was his role, to be a grub.
And then, I think, like Brent Reid said last night, you know, it's not – they were kind of talking about this a long time ago. So this ain't no shock to anyone. But again, it has the potential to just infiltrate the team. You know, you've got your 9 and 7 who aren't going to be there next year in the blink of an eye. And, you know, all of a sudden the 7's actually going to get dropped. And what's going to happen with the 9? He could be dropped. If they move Bailey Hayward into 9 – and put Galvin at 7 in the next 2 or 3 weeks, the whole dynamics change.
Yeah.
And does that impact again? Are the other players pissed off with that, or are they okay with it? Time's going to tell, right? We're going to see it. We're going to see it.
I just think it's strengthened their chances of winning a comp.
Yeah, it could. But it couldn't either.
Yeah,
it may not.
I just...
Well, I'm just going to double back to the whole Willie Tonga situation. He's one of the greatest left centres to play for our club outside of Braith. So initially we were like, why is this guy here? And then he just fucking tore the season apart.
It's a good point you made.
You know? So it's going to have –
point.
It's going to go one of each way. I don't know.
Yeah, I think if you ask me a life and death right now, is it a good decision or a bad? I'm saying yes, it's a good one. You know, I think if you really peel it all back and, you know, you look at it for what it is, and you're saying, the Bulldogs are definitely more chance of winning the comp with Galvin at half than Sexton. I hate saying that because I really feel for Sexton at the moment. But if we're going to be honest and sit here, I actually do. I think you know, they're systematic, like we've said. Their defense is amazing. Their enthusiasm, their work ethic, their commitment to the club and the values and character. That's the thing. That's the thing. They've built this team and this club the last few years around character and around values, and they're kind of contradicting that with this, dropping a couple of players who have built this, have helped build this. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
like I'm not saying it. Like I'm not.
I don't think their character or their spirit can be broken. When you just broke it down a second ago, I'm like, no, they'll be fine.
And I'm hoping that's true.
But they're looking to the future, Gus. Is like, where do we need more points?
Yeah.
We've built our defence. The foundation's there. We know that we're going to turn up. We're the fittest in the comp, but we need more points.
And I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's just they've let a brother down.
Yeah, of course.
And I think that they're good enough, big enough, strong enough to kind of move past that, you know. But in general, just closing up on this, I think it's a good decision. I think you had to sign him at the price they got him at. You know, $700 a year.
Yeah,
he's getting offered over 1 million, 1.1 or 1.2 at the Tigers a year. Yeah, and I think the Eels had got to at least 900.
Yeah, right.
So he's taking less to stay there, which means straight away he's saying, I want to be here for the right reasons.
And then you've got Perth and PNG coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
They must have a nice dossier.
Well, you know, that. Well, just off the back of that,
Behind the dossiers now.
Cameron Serrato is a footy head, like psycho. Like he lives, breathes it. You know, he goes home and he's never not thinking about the game. And this is what Lachlan Galvin is. And I've heard that from the Tigers, Benji, and I've heard it from the Bulldogs with their conversations with him when they were negotiating this deal or trying to get it done. And him and Ciro would just get along like a house on fire in terms of like Ciro loves that. That's what he looks for in players. Yeah. And that was a big reason why they've taken him on. All right, let's get to the next part. I suppose the domino effect of this is Parramatta missing out on him.
Yeah.
Parramatta, quickly, I mean, they offered him more money. He had the chance to play with Mitchell Moses. His manager, Isaac Moses, manages obviously him and Mitchell Moses.
Yeah.
They thought they had him.
Yeah.
Why do you think he didn't go there just before we get to who could be possible candidates in that position now?
They're definitely on a rebuild, Braith. If you look at their squad, I think they could be 5-10 years from winning a competition.
I don't know.
Have
you seen enough the last couple of weeks without Moses on the weekend, no Lomax?
I love the style they're playing. I'm a huge fan of the way they're shifting
turn the
corner.
ball.
But you just think if Galvin is at 5'8" in that team moving forward,
I think they're just a little bit light in the forwards.
Yeah.
They need some strike back rowers, big time.
But is that enough for him not to sign there, considering the money and the
lure of a competition to win a competition?
Isn't
That'd take. I would give up 100, 200.
Yeah, to win a competition.
You know what?
Yeah, I would too.
Easy.
That conversation that Gus didn't have with him, I reckon, got the job done.
Yeah.
You give up a couple of hundred to win a comp for sure.
Yeah. I think
It's you know what? You've got Gus and you've got Nick. They're two men. When they see, and I haven't had it, you certainly have, but I've been around one of them, and you see that aura, and I reckon that aura and that.
the aura's big.
The stability of where the Dogs are.
It helps when you got the Lawnies and all those blokes behind it as well. Like they're powerful.
Yeah.
They're power clubs.
Yeah,
100%.
You know that they can, and I've said this a number of times. You know, you can take less to go to a club that is professionally run, great work ethic, moral standards, values, but also have opportunities off field. Like, you know, you got these very successful men who run big businesses who can throw you into shares. They can throw you into emerging businesses. They can throw you into opportunities, investments. They can be your mentor. Like I encourage players to get involved in that because footy doesn't last forever. We know that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big appeal, definitely at the Roosters. And I think the Dogs are building that now. It's not just the on-field. It's actually what you can achieve off it, you know, and the money you can make and the way you can evolve as a human and a businessman, you know, because sport is business. Rugby league's business now. You got to leverage it while you can.
Right.
I'm really big on that. And I think, you know, the Dogs are that power club now that have got it covered on and off the field.
Yeah.
Who should the Parramatta Eels sign?
Reid Mahoney. They're taking him back.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that's not a bad call, that.
They've
got that
I've heard that Reid's going the Cowboys.
Yeah, I've read that somewhere as well.
Yeah, I've heard that. And there's a long-term deal there. That's why he wants to get out early because he's got a good long-term deal up at the Cowboys.
He wants to leave early. Oh, yeah,
Well, next year.
Yeah, so obviously Robson's leaving. That's not a bad shout, that, going back.
Yeah, going back to Para.
Yeah.
But I did speak to Rolsey about...
Because they're desperate for a 9.
Well, we had a laugh about that, and that was a bit harsh the other week. But Rolsey was saying, I think I said it, Rolsey's looking for a 9. But I think Reid's a very similar style, though, to the one they've got. I would say he's a better player. But I think they're looking for a more eyes-up, faster,
creative
9, which Reid traditionally isn't, right? So I don't think he suits the mould of what they're looking for, the style in which they're playing at the moment, Para, and what the vision that Rolsey's got. I don't think that would happen. I think it's a done deal at the Cowboys, and that's why Sam Abe, his agent, has really fast-tracked this. And Sam's got 7 players at the Bulldogs or something, and he's good mates with Gus. You know, so read between the lines.
He's got a great relationship with the Cowboys too, Sam, because of Thurster.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah. You know?
Well, that writing's on the wall.
Well, listen, I'll give you some mail now, and I think you've heard the same as, but I don't know if you had. No, you hadn't. The Roosters, well, I mean, they're saying they're going to they've given permission to Sandon Smith to leave.
I have heard this. I've heard this for a long
you know, which has been around now for 2 or 3 weeks with the DCE stuff. I'm hearing that the Parramatta are interested in him. And Sandon Smith, so he could land there.
Yeah, I think it's a great fit for him. He's competitive. He's good ball runner, quick. And I think that's going to suit their style of play.
He's
he doesn't
very
have
different
to worry.
to Moses too, right? Which is
plays like up footy.
Yeah,
He's that off the cuff 5'8", where Moses is that.
Well, he's got touch footy background.
Yeah.
So he's like quite nippy and quick, and sort of picks up the ball, plays. You know, looks up, plays what he sees in front of him. Probably needs to find a bit of balance there with with that. That's one area of his
Have
game.
you heard if Rolsey's interested?
I've heard he's interested. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I've heard he's interested.
Be a great fit for him.
Yeah. Rolsey was interested in. Well, I shouldn't say that.
Ooh. Oh, come on. There's a little whisper or something.
Nearly stuffed that one up.
Nearly got a bite.
Ooh. If I could read between the lines.
Yeah.
Nah, leave it.
Okay, let's move on from this whole domino effect. Although no, we're still on it. The Roosters with DCE now.
The forgotten major.
Is he panicking now? If he in Origin can't bring his manager going.
I reckon he would be. I reckon he'd be a little nervous, huh?
Do you reckon? No.
But no, because
I see what you're saying, but I don't.
I mean, Nick's Nick, and a handshake's as good as I mean, he got shafted by Wayne a few years ago, Nick. But I don't think Nick's ever shafted anyone with a handshake. If he says it, he does it. He's renowned for it. So I don't think so. But okay. Now, no one could have predicted that. Well, I mean, we were. Well, Reni wasn't.
I didn't.
Wait, is Sam Walker? You wouldn't believe. So I was at the game on the weekend.
Hey, don't jinx him.
Yeah,
He's not back yet.
Well, can I tell you, he is jumping out of his skin.
Yeah,
he's back in full contact.
I reckon rest him for the rest of the year.
Mate,
why not? You reckon?
Very high chance of redoing it at his age.
What do you reckon, Lloyd?
Lloyd Christmas.
Well, mate, listen. Look, I can admit that I was wrong.
Have you jumped off the bike yet?
I'm still on the bike.
Oh,
no, I'm not on the bike.
Yeah.
No, look, I can admit I was wrong. I saw some really worrying signs from the Roosters last year and this year. I didn't expect their debutants, their young players, to really become first graders so quickly.
Or Origin players.
Or Origin. Oh, yeah, true.
Rob Toya.
Yeah, there you go. So, look, Robbo's done a fantastic job. Is Kingy still there?
Yeah,
mate.
I want to give a shout to
Oldbrook's there too.
I want to give a shout to of Friendy in the academy.
Yeah.
And Orbo,
And Orbo, like if you look at that, what they've done, and that
Boydie,
that
they've turned. We all were pretty critical of their recruitment because they got a few wrong. You know, we spoke about the Dom Young and the Brandon Smith. But they've got this right, and now they're being justified in that space. They got them wrong, and they admit that.
Yeah.
But they're actually
their kids have stood up. Wow.
Mate, they've got a bit of redemption here with their kids playing the way they are. But again, going back to DC now, no one could have predicted it. Well, we didn't predict them to sort of fire this well. I just said, mate, they'll be on the edge of the 8 and they'll be fighting for an 8 spot. A lot of people agree with you, Ren, to be fair, and our great mate Brent Reid. So. You know, you two weren't alone on that bike. Yeah. There were about 2 others.
Thank God I was on the bus.
It was a train.
The bus was fun, wasn't it?
The bus was good.
Yeah. Now, let's not talk about what happened on the bus. But so they're in a little bit of a predicament.
Yeah.
They're going to offload Sandon now, so he's the first victim of the DCE signing. Yeah. Well, I don't have an issue with all this right now. I think DCE and Walker, I think Savala at 5'8" this year, when Walker comes back. Yep. I think they're a perfect pairing. Yeah. Like Savala's 6'3" or 4", defense amazing, kicking game incredible, and
skillful
as well. He's got a little bit of X factor, but he's so reliable and he's exactly what you want as a half when you've got a Walker who is quite erratic but brilliant.
Yeah.
I think they would complement each other amazingly well. And I think it's a really good combination. I wouldn't hesitate with that. You put Sandon on the bench, you have Connor Watson at 9. So and they can split. I think it's fine. Now the question is next year. When DCE comes in and it's going to be Walker and they're worried about Savala staying, they're worried about him being loaned out. You know what? The Roosters will look after him forever. He'll be financially taken care of. The odds of halves being injured throughout a year and origin periods maybe
it's extremely high.
It's extremely high. Reni hasn't even played a game this year. for You know, so and Savala can play any position. He showed that, back row, whatever. He can fill in the centres if you need. And he'll be there. He'll be on the bench, and he can play anywhere.
Can I say one thing? Even to this day, he's still not on a very big proper contract.
No,
and last year, I'm pretty sure he got offered something at the Dogs. He got offered a contract at the Dogs. I know him relatively well. He knocked it back because he loves Robbo. He loves the club. He will do anything to stay there.
He's a junior.
And he's a junior. And
He's
you
a
know
South
what,
junior.
Nick?
No,
Play
he's
for the
not.
Wombats.
Didn't he play for? Yeah, he's a Roosters junior. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, no, he went through the whole Rooster system from
So
Mats
he's
to
South
SG.
junior that went into the.
Yeah.
Let's get that right.
Well, the Roosters have. They got 2 teams maybe. Clovelly, Crocs, and
Yeah, well, he's a Wombat.
He's played all of his junior rep footy at the
Rep
East.
footy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a South junior.
Oh, whatever.
Roosters supporter.
He's a Rooster.
well, that's the
supporter.
main thing,
Yeah.
right? But yeah,
No, but my point
he,
is his loyalty to the club, and as you know, Nick's seeing that he's
he'll
the
repay that
biggest-
loyalty.
He
Nick will
repays
repay
it.
it.
And he will repay it.
And they'll he'll have a year behind DCE.
Yeah.
Like he'll learn from one of the best, and he'll still get enough. He'll still play first grade every week. It's just that he probably won't have that dominant half
Yeah.
position. But you're playing behind DCE and Walker,
And have the opportunity to win a comp.
yeah, and the opportunity to win a comp, and then he's the long term half,
Yeah.
like for forever. Like it's only 1 year. I think it'll be fine.
He'll be fine.
They'll work it out.
I think everyone was freaking out because you got him, Sandon, but I think Roosters had made a decision probably even before Anzac Day that Sandon was going to be on the way out.
Yeah, I think so.
And Anzac Day maybe threw up a little question.
It
but,
did.
But I think those decisions had already been made.
Yeah.
All right, State of Origin is on tomorrow night. Jeez, it snuck up on us. Let's have a quick
Can I say, Aaron,
preview.
do you hate Queensland?
I fucking hate Queensland.
Hate's a very strong word, Aaron.
Fuck
For 6
Queensland.
weeks of the year,
aggressive.
I hate them.
To all of our Queensland fans, no, I'm kidding.
We hate him.
We
Right?
do hate them.
And the closer we get to the game, we fucking hate him even more.
I sometimes watch the game standing up with nerves.
Yeah. I don't. But anyway.
Payne Huss will play.
Yeah,
He looks like he's
he
running
trained
well.
yesterday. We interviewed Angus Crichton and Cameron Munster.
Stephen Crichton, we quitted Cork.
Yeah, they've brought Burton in as 18th man for the 1,000th time. But they've already
He's the most capped 18th man
He
in
is.
the history of the game.
He is. But they've already got Campbell Graham in there anyway, so Campbell would take his spot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we didn't talk about.
What?
So last night at the end of the show,
Oh,
Dean Ritchie rang our EP and he come running in the ad break. So did you see the vision of Crichton walking off with the ice pack? That wasn't taken by any media.
It's leaked.
It was leaked. So they train at Ballymore, which is Queensland, where the Reds train.
yeah.
So Laurie Daly and Frank Panisi are blowing up because they believe that they now are concerned that Queensland have had a spy in the camp because there's officers up there and
Yeah, it looks like it's coming from an office.
there's officers in the
Yeah.
ground. And they're worried that they've seen their whole session, their set pieces, their plays, everything, and then Billy's going to get the information about how they're going to play. So this is good. This is
great.
sparked. This is
They just
fired it up
sparked
a
it
bit.
up.
Loz hates them all of a sudden now.
Yeah.
But Loz had a drone because they had a drone, right? Now they drone all sessions. Everyone does.
Yeah.
So now they're going to go back to the footage of the drone to see if they can see who the culprit is.
Wow. What are they going to do about it? It's too late.
Yeah, what are they going to put a complaint to the NRL? But it's fired things up.
Yeah.
It's fired things up. I don't know. That was late last night. So thoughts on that?
Shifty Queenslanders.
Fucking dogs,
Mate. I don't know. Like, surely, like Ballymore, what's that?
It's a stadium, mate.
Yeah, I know. But what is it? A fucking park footy team or something like that?
No, it's the Queensland Reds.
Oh, it's the Reds.
That's where they train and stuff. Like, so they're off. It's Queensland Rugby Union. That's their offices.
Yeah. Okay.
So Billy's just rang up. He's going, "Hey guys, just
Who played for the Reds?
put a secret camera in there, and we'll."
It looks like it's off a phone. Yeah, I don't look.
It could be rubbish. It could just be someone who was in the office.
Saw Critter get injured. Oh, look, it's obviously got
Could have been the
leaked.
boss and the.
Fucking shut the place down better. You know,
You can't, mate. You can't.
Well, then what are we complaining? What are we complaining about then? You got
I
leaked.
can't believe you're siding with.
Oh, he's
Queensland.
siding with
And
Queensland.
everyone
Don't
is tipping
start this
Queensland too. He goes,
We haven't got to that yet.
He goes, oh, should I tip Queensland? I feel a bit bad. Mate, tip who you want to tip, mate.
I'm fucking tipping the Blues now.
Oh, here we
Traitor.
go. Please. They don't need the weight of you on them.
You know what? No. Oh, this is great, actually.
Yeah.
Please tip Queensland.
I will.
Yes.
It's all a ploy.
No, it isn't.
It's tactic.
Yeah, let's talk quickly. Thoughts on the game, Ren? How do you see it playing out?
I think we should go into the game with the same game plan as we had last year. Target DCE. I'll be, our back five are going to have a massive job. Get us in the front foot. I'll be isolating DCE, 34-year-old halfback. Get him out of the game as much as possible. Munster obviously worries me. I would be trying to get to wider points on the field to get Latrell one-on-one with Toya. I think Cotter, DCE, Toya are a huge target for us.
So you think the
right edge,
we
can get a lot of...
You can get some joy there. You think that's where they'll be going?
I think Cotter is a fantastic player, but he's a middle. I think he's an intimidating back rower.
Moses more than likely over that edge run at Moses.
It'll be Moses, Crichton, and Latrell. They've got a huge task.
So that's where you think they should go, New South Wales. That's your So for everyone, keep an eye on that and see if they go there. I wouldn't go there too soon. I like to sort of.
It'll be played through the middle third.
Yeah,
first 25 minutes.
I kind of like to deceive a little bit, like play away, and then just go bang, and then sort of like set them up a bit. Think you're not going there, and then go there. You know, like work them over, make them make tackles, but not like throwing too much shape at them, and then just come back when they kind of least expect them, catch them off guard a little bit. Deception's pretty big. You when you're on the back foot in Origin, you blow on, and you got to make decisions. It's frantic. It's and like you said, you got a young kid in Toya who deserves his spot, but he's going to be tested, right? Yeah. He's going to be tested. I think the sides are pretty, like, Queensland, I said it last week, no one's really talking about them. The battle of the forwards is going to be big. Big Tino.
Well, we haven't spoken about, let's go there with Tino and Haas going at it.
Yeah,
that's
and,
a great
bit
battle.
of injury cloud with Haas. Tino will be fired up, man.
Yeah.
He'll be so, like, going to Suncorp is the Colosseum of Colosseums. Like, you can't hear the guy next to you. Like, I remember...
Yeah, what's it like playing there?
When we'd prep for a game, like, the whole week you kind of before Origin, or when you get to Queensland, you know it. Like, everyone knows who you are and what you're there for, and they're just yelling out at you in the streets, and you can feel how volatile it is. Like, they fucking hate you, mate. Yeah. They want you to die, really. And... you get to the game and you're just so nervous. Like, everyone is watching. Like, even people in Perth and, like, it's overseas, there's so many eyes on this game. AFL supporters, they watch it. Like, and the importance of it and what it means to everyone, the state, the fans, the people, the punters, that it could be the biggest moment in your life, and it could be, if you don't get it right, it could be the biggest failure of your life, and you got millions of people watching it unfold. There is no more pressure, no more expectation, and you get there and you just want to make sure you prep right. But you can hear the crowd, you can hear the noise, you run out. But what's really important is your preparation for the week, because it's not like your average week where you've got your set pieces and your game plan and you just go out and execute, and you're on the field going, just say I'm with Joey back in Origin, and what are we up? Okay, let's get to X for Y, whatever. You can't hear him. I can't hear him. He can't hear me. The guy outside me can't hear you. You pretty much are on autopilot from what you've trained all week, and you before the set of 6, you might just have tell the guys what set's on or where you want to get to, but you can't hear them.
Yeah.
So it's not like your average game of footy. You need to be prepared.
Yep.
You need to know each other's game back to front. And that's, I think, now that I'm kind of leading to I didn't mean to, but now I'm thinking out loud, that's where Queensland have the advantage. With Munster and Cherry Evans. They've been there, done it, had this combination before, had success. That's probably one area where, both these guys, Moses and Cleary, have done it, but not together. Yep. And they've never combined together. Mm-hmm. So that's a big challenge for them. It's a really big challenge to get that right, because one thing too, when you're up in Suncorp, if you don't start well, and the drums start beating and the crowd get behind them and they're winning the field position battle and things aren't going your way, it is one of the hardest and biggest challenges you'll ever have in your career to try and switch the momentum and get back on top.
Yep.
Like there is no bigger challenge in our game. So the key is to start well. The key is to take the crowd out of the game because it's a coliseum.
Yep.
It's a coliseum. So
Yep.
for New South Wales, like, yeah, they need to start well, but one thing they do have is they have so much class in key positions, you know, and they have the ability to probably, like I said, that challenge I spoke about. If there's anyone that can overcome that challenge, it is the guys we got there.
Yeah. We've had that before.
Yeah.
We've had a far superior team in the past.
We've had it heaps of time, friend.
So and that means nothing to me.
Another thing, just Queensland will put everything into this game because if they lose game one, they lose the series, I believe.
Yeah.
I think many would agree, right?
Yeah.
They need to win at home game one.
Yep.
Now, we know Queensland. We know the attitude. We know the passion. Billy, one of the most passionate coaches and players you've ever seen, they are going to try and ambush us, man.
Yeah.
They're going to fucking try and ambush us, and they just want to, you know, they want to catch us off guard. So the start is going to be so critical.
Agreed.
In terms of the actual teams and lineups, you know, I was thinking to do his coats up against Tor. No, he's not, or else that would have been just kick the coats for Munster all day. That's not the case. Pretty level. Kalen, I'm interested to see how he goes.
They'll be defensively a lot stronger. Reece Walsh stuffed up their defensive lines a couple of times last year. You got the numbers wrong.
Yeah.
Kalen he's the best at ghosting and getting numbers right.
Yeah.
So there won't be too. Oh, man, it's just in terms of like New South Wales blowing them off the park. I just don't see it. That's why I'm going to lean
Tino
towards.
back.
I don't see it.
That's why I'm slightly leaning towards Queensland.
I don't see it at all.
Yeah.
A lot of people do, but every year people do.
Yeah.
And again, underestimate Queensland in Queensland.
Well, they nearly did it last year without Tino and without Munster.
You look at the betting, like when is Queensland either $2.28 against $1? Like they're the outsiders at home.
Well, I think it was, I could be wrong, but I seen one of the betting guys on Fox say that they're the outsiders, but they've won 4 or 5 out of the last 6 up there.
Up there outside.
You know, and
can I tell you? I was tracking to like one of the big pros that I know, and because he likes Queensland, he's been backing him with SAP. He goes, every smarty that he knows is truckloading New South Wales.
Really?
Yep, but we apparently all the smart money, like, and these guys are very sharp. They're just truckloading.
I feel like that happens every year, though.
Yeah,
but, you know, you're talking to a guy who's very experienced, but I mean, like, who's more experienced than us at talking about footy, and we can't even really give you the answer there. You know, like, so.
To be honest, my gut's saying Queensland. I hope it's wrong.
Yeah.
My gut tells me that prices are wrong. I look at
Harry Grant's underdone. Who else is underdone? Someone else coming back from Toya's inexperienced. Harry Grant is underdone. He hasn't played, has he? The last sort of month.
No, he's just come back last week.
Lindsay Collins only had the one game.
He's only had one game. So you can understand why people are really backing this New South Wales side.
Yeah.
But playing up at that Coliseum, Munster and Tino back in the side, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
What are we tipping then? Let's just.
Well, the tip for the Origin?
I'm going to go with my head, not my heart. I'm going to go Queensland.
About time.
And I'm going Nanai to score any time.
Okay. I'm going to go.
That's what my bet will be.
I'm going to go New South Wales by 7.
Ooh.
Cleary field goal.
Ooh.
Okay. I like that.
That's good.
That's a lot of odds right there. that's pretty stupid actually.
Yeah.
But I'll
just leave it, mate. Stick with it. Stick with it.
See if I can be nice.
I think Hamaso was going to score a try.
He loves a try in Origin.
He loves a try.
He loves a try everywhere.
He does. He's just, I love him.
He's good. Mate. Come on.
Come on, mate.
Queensland with the start. Yuck.
Are you? Do it, mate.
Queensland with the start.
What's the start?
I'm the only one.
3.5.
Yeah, wow. Would
I'm trying to reverse mockers.
But fuck, we bleed blue and fuck
Oh,
Queensland.
mate, trust
Right?
me, I'll
So
be
let's
screaming.
Get that straight.
I won't be back
I'll
I
soften it
do
at the
not
end.
support Queensland one bit.
We're not here to talk shit. You honestly got to call it how you see it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm worried as hell.
Tino
That's why I've
Munster
only gone
fact.
for a tight one.
well, last week I tipped Hero against the
Yeah,
Chooks and he
yeah.
scored for.
I'll give you some a wrap.
No, yeah.
Oh, actually, how did we go last week with the multi?
I collected.
Here we go.
You collected.
Yeah, my man delivered, didn't he?
Yeah.
Herbie Farm.
Yeah.
What was the last league?
Oh, Lukey Metcalf let me down, lads.
Prosthetic league was our last league.
All right. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
What are we doing? Are we doing the Unibet preview for the rest of the round? Or
Now,
would that
look,
it?
We'll
So
just, let's just give a
we
quick
haven't got. We haven't
the
got
teams
team
aren't in.
list.
We've gone a day early here because Rennie's
of
got
Origin.
about 38 gigs up at Origin tomorrow.
Yep.
Well, we wanted to do an Origin preview. That's why.
Yeah, I think let's just give our quick tips on the teams for the week, mate.
Yep.
I haven't even looked. We don't even know who's playing or not, but we'll kind of give.
Well,
it
I've got them. I can read you out the prices.
Who's the game?
So we've got St George Illawarra up against the Newcastle Knights, who did fight back with a win. $1.50 St George, $2.60 the Knights.
Hey, I tell you what, like they've got some decisions to make because Fletcher Sharp is a fucking gun at fullback, right? Like he had 18 tackle breaks in that game.
Yeah.
18. Like I feel like if they're not going to, they've got to consider trying the experiment of Kalen back to 6 again,
do you
leaving
think-
Cogger at 7.
When he did it last, do you think maybe he's more experienced now and he will be better
Well, they
playing?
didn't have a Fletcher
Who
Sharp. did
played
they?
fullback
No.
last
Also,
time?
no. I'm talking about Kalen because it didn't work when he played 6 last time. Do you think his game is more adapt
His
now that
defence,
he
mate.
can?
Do you remember last time they ran at him? He got knocked out. Remember that was when he had his head knock issues. Man, he got knocked out nearly a couple of times a game, but definitely 2 weeks in a row, just defending at 3.
Yeah,
You know?
but it's kind of been swept over now, forgotten about. That I think he can handle playing in the line. It's a decision to make because Fletcher Sharp is too good.
But isn't it a concern that you got the highest paid player in the game out, who they depend on, and they win when he's out. And then last year he was out
that-
for 4 games. They won 4 in a row.
Are they just too reliant on
What's
him?
going on?
Well, you got to think what
Are they too reliant on him?
possibly, yeah.
opposition teams are doing a lot of video on Kalen as well. So he's got that added extra pressure as well.
Yeah.
That's an incredible stat of what you just said.
Yeah.
Because no one thought, like, I guess he didn't get the link out there.
Oh no! Oh, what about this? Had some guy.
saw
Did
that.
you see that?
He's blowing up.
What did
He
he say?
deleted some messages, didn't he?
I don't know what he did. To be honest with you, he looked a bit.
What
I
happened?
don't want to tell
Say
you
it
what
to
he
his
looked like.
face.
What did he say?
I
What
was going to
happened?
write a
He
comment.
started on me. Hammering me like this is after the Newcastle win about the Adam O'Brien taking his pokey and getting on the courtesy bus, and he just started hammering me about it. And I had a look at his profile. I thought, oh, poor bloke. Just let him go. And then he kept going and writing more messages. I couldn't be bothered this time, to be honest with you. But mate, seriously, like who'd they play? Who'd they play?
They
against?
played Penrith. Man.
Penrith had I didn't even look at their teams last week. Like, to be fair, they had no one. So you're not going to keep your coach after that one win. Like that doesn't eliminate everything we said. Or
They did play well though. Dylan Lucas.
and
was
maybe if you
outstanding.
listen to mate, it was a joke about the poker machine. They're not going to give him one, unfortunately.
There is no $2 million link.
I don't even know if
Relax,
he fit on the
mate.
courtesy bus. Right, so I'm sorry to disappoint you, but back to Macca's drive.
Who
right,
did Dragons play last week? They had a bye?
Bye.
They had the bye, eh?
Yeah, they got the 2 points.
Okay, so who are we tipping?
I would-
It's a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, without the team list, you just got to
Dragons coming off a win as well up at Brizzy.
Yeah, I'll go Dragons coming off a bye.
It's in
down
down
there.
this way.
Jubilee.
Yeah, for some reason, I'll go Dragons. I think it's hard to read into last week, even though I was impressed with Sharp. Like, yeah.
All right, next game, Seabus Stadium.
Oh,
We
he's the
had.
back row. Sorry, he's a gun. Just
Dylan
pulling him.
Lucas.
Dylan
Oh, what a player.
Oh my
What a
god!
player.
What about the highlight reel from him last
he's
week?
fucking
Easy,
powerful.
but even in their struggles, those two in their struggles have still been the standouts. Sharp and
Mate,
Lucas,
yeah,
so.
great player.
All right, Gold Coast at home, $3.82 against Melbourne Storm, $1.27.
Look, that's pretty. I'm just going to Storm. Can't break that one down too much.
Well, we don't know the teams, but you'd assume that the boys would back up. What day's that on?
That's on the Saturday.
Yeah, so they got a few days to back up, and I think Melbourne will want.
Do you want to back up sooner? Would you want to play if it wins that Saturday, Friday?
Yeah, I remember when I played. You saw her 3 or 4 days after the game, then two.
Yeah.
Like you kind of
Well, not that I had to back up from Origin, but definitely by day 3.
Yeah.
You're like
the quicker the better.
The quicker the better.
Yeah.
Just on that, I think in recent years they'd be more likely to have probably rested because they're usually sitting on top of the ladder. We're here.
They don't have the depth either now. They may rest. Nah, I don't think.
I don't think they will. I don't think
they'll
rest. I don't think they have the opportunity to rest. I don't think they kind of have
they
to play
could,
the best
maybe
squad.
they rest one of them. You know, I don't think they'd rest both. So they might rest Harry or Cameron. I don't think they'd maybe they might rest Harry because he's coming off the injury and he's only just come back. I think Cameron would want to play, to be honest with you. So I don't see him resting.
Yeah.
North Queensland Cowboys $1.41 at home against the West Tigers $2.90.
How hard's the competition this year? I don't know. I mean, that shows how good our game is. Like, it really is so hard. I don't even want to pretend to know what I think I'm talking about right now.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just pick purely because it's at home. I'll have to go
that's
Cowboys.
and we don't have the team, so I'm gonna.
and we don't have the
team. They got
team.
players backing up. Cows.
Yeah.
They don't have anyone.
Does Clifford come back into the side?
I don't know.
Tigers, no Galvin.
What happened with him?
Sorry. I don't know. He's on the phone to Gus.
First try scorer for the Bulldogs. I'll back him.
Manly Seagulls get back to 4 Pines, $1.68.
Well, the old Manly were back last week.
Yes, against the Brisbane Broncos.
Oh my god!
$2.18.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I go Manly.
Yeah.
I go Manly. The Broncos. Jeez, they're.
I find it hard to back Broncos.
I can't tip them, especially at 4 points. I can't. Not at 4 points.
No, not at 4
It's
points.
a defining moment for their season. For the Bronx.
This is
for probably. Who did
I don't
Manly
even.
play?
Mate, they're.
No, Manly as well. I mean, they got
But you know
smoked
what?
by
Because
Para.
everyone's so up and down on that edge, it's not. It's normally by now you're saying season defining, and I've said it already about Manly, and then because the competition's so close and the edge of the 8, it isn't season defining.
Yeah, right.
It will be in the next. I reckon in 4 or 5 weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
Then it becomes
because
season
it's so
defining.
open and close and.
Just given how they've lost, 5 out of the last 6, Brisbane, there's noise about the coach.
Oh, it's big.
If they don't turn it around soon, it'll get a whole lot worse.
Do you reckon he could be gone?
Who?
The coach at the end of the year, Madge, or you reckon
They're
stick to
supporting
him?
him. No.
Yeah.
He won't be gone.
I'll go Manly at home.
There's 4 other coaches more vulnerable than him right now.
Yeah. We now go to a core stadium, South Sydney, $2. New Zealand Warriors $1.84.
Even this one. Like, South's playing really good footy now. Latrell backing up. Humphries is back. He's we don't even know, but
We don't.
when's Jack back? He didn't play last week either.
No.
They've had heaps of injuries. South can win this easily. Like,
Yeah.
and the Warriors, they're coming off a
what?
loss. Maybe that little ride they've been on could take a hit this week. I'm going to go South. I don't even know the teams.
I'm going to go Warriors. I really
I love the Warriors, mind you.
Yeah, I just love what they're doing defensively. I love their attack. Don't get me wrong. They needed to find a little bit of an extra gear against Canberra last week.
And the
weather was a huge factor.
atrocious.
I don't know what the weather's like.
Remember I said the
at
weather,
Homebush.
that's why I tipped Canberra last week? They should just come to me now.
I'll give yourself a
I'm
rap.
used to it.
Yeah. But defensively,
I did say the Dolphins were probably the most likely to upset the Bulldogs too.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I got all that.
Hey, do you want another little renovation?
And also,
no, I like what they're doing defensively. They
more
scramble.
chili.
Their intent. I like the Warriors. I'm going to back Warriors in that one.
All
How's
right.
the soccer ball going?
Yeah, good.
Good.
Soccer ball hamhead.
Who is that? Who's soccer? Oh, we shouldn't say that, should we?
Yeah, it's been said before.
Soccer ball hamhead.
It was what's his name? Craig.
No, don't say it.
All right. Penrith Panthers $1.62 against the Parramatta Eels $2.29.
The Battle of the West. I'm going Para.
This is a G up.
I love the way I like what I'm seeing from Para. I'm going to go Para. I don't need to break it down. I've spoken.
I'm going to
about
get
how
Parrot
they're
too.
Yep.
I'm going to get Parrot too.
Yep.
They're playing good footy. Playing really good footy. And this is another tough game. Roosters at home $2.01. Canberra Raiders
Oh
$1.83.
my God.
Sticky against his former club. Cat's arsehole though. Fuck, this is a tough one. Gritty win last week. Roosters, fuck, they're playing well, man.
Fuck, they're
This
just...
is so hard to pick. Who you going?
Wow. It's at home to the Roosters, is it?
Yeah, Sunday. It's a Sunday night game, 6:15. I'll be there.
I'm going to go Chooks. I'm going to go Chooks this week.
So I'm a little bit less confident coming off the. I don't, but you know what? They've got an energy there.
I think
They've got a belief.
they're Given the emotion that went into that game against the Warriors, Joe Tuppenier coming back to New Zealand, he was fired up. He was doing those ones to the crowd.
I know, Origin.
The winger was going off for the crowd after. There was a lot of emotion that I feel like could maybe zap their energy a bit.
Hope so.
And Roosters obviously had a pretty easy win, an
Roosters
exciting
have got
win.
the bye the game after.
The game after.
So they'll be thinking, let's get a win, get the bye, mate. We're well and truly in the 8.
The old 4-point win.
Well, I remember before this because they had the tough lot. They almost beat the Dogs,
Mm.
and then they had this game, and then they had this. So you said they kind of needed the win because they went.
If they need to win, I just said 1 would be good, 2 would be great.
Great.
Because then they had the bye before and the bye after. If they win against Canberra, then have the bye, they'll be sitting 6th, I reckon, something like that.
And then they've got some bloke coming back.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't remember.
Just
who it is.
resting.
Roosters for me. Roosters.
All right, fuck Queensland.
That's
Go
it.
the Blues.
That's the 180 podcast. Enjoy tomorrow night. Hope it's an absolute ripper of a game. Go the fuck
Up the Blues.
What's gambling really costing you?